Gotta get comfy. Happy Thursday. Happy. Oh, what a happy Thursday. I think it is. Oh, right. I got my hair trimmed. Ah, yes. Well, I'm planning my next vacation. That was my friend Frances. Frances is a wonderful woman. Anybody here going to be doing like a stay vacation, a road trip? So we were talking about doing a road trip and seeing the Midwestern United States. People don't really see America, right? America. And America is actually really beautiful. But parts of America that people don't know a lot about are like Missouri and the caves of Missouri, which actually have like ancient metaphysical and supposedly aliens live in them too. But a lot of sightings of UFOs come from Kansas, Missouri area, which is interesting. And you do have those caves. So that was why there were always theories that early hominids, or even New World hominids, went deep into caves, and other animals went deep into caves to protect themselves from predation, and learned in fact how to cloak to stay alive, and that there could in fact be many imaginable types of animals that exist right alongside of us that we can't see, but that they are cloaked. And that one of the theories to justify this is that many hominid species simply disappear and we don't entirely understand where they went to. They go into the caves and then we think, well, they died out predation. But did they? And this is one of the theories as to why so many cryptids are seen in the Midwest, in areas where they have caves, parts of New Mexico, Arizona that have cave dwellings, parts of Montana. hmm Now, we could certainly talk about that. It's something to think about. Even if you didn't go looking for cryptids, if you simply bought into the idea, hear me out, if you simply bought into this idea that if you were going to evolve as a way of surviving in nature through cloaking, what kind of habitat would you be living in? So, this is something that we can talk about on Taco Tuesdays. We left you with this idea on Taco Tuesdays about 2 months ago. If you had any supernatural power, what would you want it to be? You could have any supernatural power. Pick your supernatural power. And then the next part of the exercise is, what would you do with this supernatural power? And it was interesting. Chuck and I both voted that our supernatural power was going to be the ability to be invisible. So that's the discussion. That's the first part of this discussion. And while we open up that discussion, be sure and like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Also, we have a book of the month for the Book of the Month Club. I was actually reading the book in bed last night. Lorcan's Bane. All right, I think Lorcan's Bane is in the kitchen because I was reading Lorcan's Bane when I was having my breakfast. I always have a green smoothie for breakfast. And then if I'm still hungry after that, you can have like a brunch. But anyway, did everybody get my green smoothie recipe? Um, anyway, so I'm reading Lorcan's Bane. And this world is terrifying to me because it seems so real. I'll tell you, partly what's going on with me psychologically reading this author, um, Kitty Connell. She also writes under T.A. McLaughlin. Kitty Connell and T.A. McLaughlin are the same author. Okay, so um, what freaks me out about this is that it's just like cloaking. It's these two worlds that live alongside each other. Okay. It just freaks me out because you can see how this would be real. Like you have these female deities and these male deities thinking, oh, do you really want to send this energy out? Do you really want to try again in this dimension? And it also goes back to exactly what I was saying, this idea that when you go to the core essence of who human beings are, it's like Rabbi Moshe Weinstein used to say, Hashem doesn't make garbage. People are not made of garbage. They're come from the stars. That life is something remarkable, that we have to celebrate life. It's really hard for us to relate to any culture that would say they love death, because nothing is more precious than human life. It's such a rarity. It's such a wonderful thing. Anyway, so it's almost as if our alternate selves are deities. And in this world, we're just people, but we're people that don't know we're deities. But we're deities fooling around in the fifth dimension. That's the best way for me to describe this author. Anyway, excellent work. So part 2, I believe, is The Judgment of Seth. And I think The Love of Tayami. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I have it wrong. Is this, do I have that right? Is this the second part, set 2? No, I had it right. Judgment of Seth is part 2. The Love of Tayami is part 3. Basically, yeah, I would look at it that way. In the other realm, we're very powerful beings, right? We are greater than the angels, right? We are, in the sense that, unlike the angels, human beings have free choice. So we are these, recognize our own connection to divine source and how powerful we are. And Buddhists would call that enlightenment, just being aware of just how much we do have control over, rather than focusing on what we don't have control over. So people have asked me if I could give my protein smoothie recipe. Absolutely. I use a company called Protein and Greens because they have the best recipe. You know, you're going to get everything in 2 scoops. You're going to get, I don't take a profit from this, by the way. Protein and Greens by Paradise is not the same as Protein and Greens from any other company. It's a specific formula I like. You can get it on Amazon and iHerbs.com. So I do 2 scoops of that. So it has all the greens. It has all the greens. It has green leafies, broccoli. It also has the berries like raspberry, acai. But it also has all the medicinal mushrooms, the lion's mane, the maitake, the agaricus, the cordyceps, Gandoderma reishi. All of that is also in there, as well as the sea vegetables and 20 grams of vegan protein. Now, if you're having trouble digesting plants, this is low in resistant starch, so it's going to be easy to digest. I usually put in a half a banana. If you can't do bananas, you could try something else like ripe mangoes. And then I also like to put in different mixed berries. I just buy frozen mango berry mix, half a banana, and then I'll put in some flax, ground flax, or chia, and oat and almond milk, and then I just whip it together. I put walnuts in it for omega. I put flax ground for omega, mixed berries, banana to sweeten. These are all things you can throw in. I do oat milk. You can also do flax milk if you're worried about your glycemic index. Almond, unsweetened. Always go with unsweetened. And if you want to do the Meghan Markle, this is all Meghan Markle's. If you want to do the lean like her, then no banana. I don't think she'll kill me for letting you know. She should produce her own line, but she goes, when she's ordering her smoothie, she goes with everything. She goes lean, but the no banana. It's called the what is it called? The something lean? No, I have to ask Chuck. He'll remember what it's called. Anyway, if you do it without, this morning I had her smoothie without the banana. Um, just because I forgot to put. My bananas go ripe. What I do is I break them into like a fourth of the banana and then put it in a bag and freeze it if you're worried about your glycemic index and you want a little sweet. It's called something like Slim Berry or something like that. If you order it at the Earth Bar, I think it's called Slim Berry. No, we don't bash anybody here. We don't bash Meghan, and we don't bash, believe it or not, Catherine. We are a little concerned about William since he got a head injury. Would you guys like to do the empath prayer? And tell me what you plan to be doing. Are you going to be doing a stay vacation, which can also be very profound, where you just decide to turn off the internet, the TV, and just maybe take a few days off from work and just meditate? Yeah, stevia. I don't like the taste of stevia. Yeah, I think there is stevia in hers. She does the, I think it's the natural factors, vegan vanilla protein that's been sweetened with stevia is the vegan powder she uses. And to that, she uses ice, crushed ice, and then almond or oat milk as well. And then she puts in some berries, and then you can add additional walnut and flax if you want. And that's Meghan's drink. What I would do different from the one she gets, the Natural Factors Vegan Vanilla Protein, I would, if you want it to be more nutrient dense, I would go with the protein and greens. Okay, are you ready for the either one's fine. Yeah, no, it's not pea protein, and protein and greens is not pea protein. I don't think hers is pea protein. Well, hers might be pea protein, in which case try mine. Mine you should be fine with. Okay, let's do the empath's prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic Records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively, we say, Amen. The other fun one that they do that I get that she sometimes gets, but it's like almost 600 calories, is the Natural Factors Vegan Vanilla, a half a banana, a scoop of chocolate, ice, and almond milk. Oh my God, that's so good. Oh my God, it's so good, but it's 500 and something calories. It's basically an ice cream. The other one's like less than 300 kcal, I think. Mm-hmm. Depends on how much you've worked out. I've had days where I've had the chocolate, the chocolate smoothie from Earth Bar, and I knew it was too many calories, but it's also something like 30 grams of protein. So if you're working out and you've really worked out, it's fine. But it's like, it's a lot to it. It's really chocolatey. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll do some blitzes today. Feel free to ask me anything you like. Hi, Geocosmic Valentine. Good to see you. Claudia Veras in the house. Welcome. Jazz Girl. Jazz Girl, hello. Kitty Kano, welcome, welcome. Real Housewife of Antelope Valley. I bet that you're a really sweet lady from Antelope Valley. Mary J. McCarthy, welcome. And of course, the incredible Joel Tilson is going to tell us all about why we should visit the Midwest and look for cryptids, and maybe tell us also a little bit about, does he think that if you are a cryptid that evolved to hide, to avoid, being detected, to be invisible, what are the benefits of that? Where would you hide out? Caves, right? Abandoned mine shafts. Right now, they're finding a lot of cryptids in old abandoned ghost towns, right? They've got film footage of cryptids crawling around in areas where, well, why would they go there? To be left alone. So clearly, most cryptids are not dangerous, right? Doesn't appear that it's digitally enhanced. That's the other thing, is to particularly when you see someone is telling the truth, like the crash that happened with the aliens, and they really believe that these were demons coming to get them, right? Rather than very clever cryptids that were trying to scare them into thinking, oh, well, we know humans, they're superstitious, they'll think we're demons, we'll put them off our scent, and they'll never know that we're, something else, right? Until we can get the mothership in here and get us out of here, right? Always trying to put us off their scent, always trying to play with the minds of humans so that we are always left baffled, like what the hell happened to us out in the middle of the Midwest. But I don't think it's such a crazy idea if you look at chameleons, or you look at that brush environment where everything looks the same. And you really have to train your eyes. If you didn't grow up in that kind of an environment, would you be able to see anything? And I have been briefly traveling through those areas, the prairies, etc. And you go out and you look, there's nothing there. There's no food. There's no way to survive. How did Native Americans thrive out here? But if you ask one of the local tribes, they'll say, "What are you talking about? There's loads of food out there." Loads of food out where? It's the middle of nothing. They're like, "No, God, what are you talking about? Those seeds are ready to be harvested. We make flour from them. There's all these wild animals, and we also plant local squashes, right?" So we simply may not, if we don't grow up in that culture or that world, to us it looks like there's nothing out here, right? And then when you look at the habitat, the actual habitat itself, it is cloaking, right? You look at some of the lizards and whatnot, right? They have cloaked. They cannot be seen. We literally cannot see them. And so to some extent, we recognize cloaking. But I would love it. I would love to have the freedom to just walk America without fear of being mugged or something like that. I would love to just, get on a bicycle and just cross America with it. My biggest fear, I think, has always been, that you're going to be accosted, that something's, the fear of if you didn't have that fear, would you be more adventurous? That's the other thing to think about. Hmm. Midwestern shapeshifters, yeah. So this is something that different ufologists have said they've warned humans not to depend on aliens to come and rescue us. They didn't rescue us in Chernobyl. They didn't rescue us in Fukushima. They didn't rescue the people of Hiroshima. They didn't rescue the people of Nagasaki. What makes us so special? What makes us so different? But let's take a look. I don't think that Putin has the economic wherewithal to do everything he threatens. At the same time, people should take his threats seriously, because if you look at the remotes 5, 6 years ago, he said that he was going to unleash nuclear war if we blocked his trade. And today we shut off all of his money. So we blew up his oil. His oil went belly up. We closed off his money today. He has no way now of winning the war because he has no way of funding the war, and he's losing 1,000 soldiers, every couple days. So we beat him economically, which is what anybody who could stand. See, this is why HCRV is vital. HCRV is the ability to stand back and look at a panoramic view of things without having any emotion attached to it. People get emotional. They start to believe things that are not real. And what we try to do is teach people how to use the meditative state so that they can be objective. And what we saw was that Putin could not let it go. And as a result of not being able to let it go, he was going to inevitably wind up with NATO marching on Moscow, and that it's very likely that Crimea is going to get hit. That the West is going to hit the Crimean Peninsula once he's belly up. Here is here is where people got moved to that are not part of Hamas. So people were told to move to this area. This is the area that I think could become Oasis One. So you can look at this live anytime you like. If you're curious about seeing what life is like in these locations, you can just put on later. You can see movement. You can also see the amount of congestion. I don't like seeing this congestion. That's why whoever puts underground transportation in, I think it's a great idea. Whoever decides to do it. I don't like the congestion. Some of these are some really cute pictures. I like the pictures of the kids waiting in line to get ice cream. You can see in the distance that's the market opening up. So they've gotten the market back open, and the colored tent is the market back there, but the colored tent, that's where they sell ice cream. So getting feedback in those areas. It's not looking good for the East, right? It's not looking good for the East in the sense that there's propaganda coming out from the East, right? The East is saying that everybody's going to die, that it's horrible, we've got to stop giving arms to Israel because, oh my God, Southeast Gaza. But the people refuse it, or Southwest. I keep doing that. people in Southwest Gaza. Yeah, that's right, West. Um, but if people are going to hold on to Hamas, they're going to stay there, and the people that are renouncing Hamas are going into the area that I just showed you. And if you want to see what's going on, you can just go Gaza Live cam, and the sun usually comes up. Um, Here's another one. And then you can just see this is the area of the rebuild. This one's just from an hour ago. I keep telling you guys the best tents at Egypt. You can get the best tents for the least amount of money. Beautiful Bedouins. The Bedouins make them from hand. I really would like it to be as nice as possible during the rebuild. Here's the market. Got a kid flying a kite. You can see over here, southwest, southwest. That's where the fighting is going on. That's where Hamas. This is the last stronghold of Hamas. This is the safe zone. Kites are like a popular pastime. This is the sun going down. And the sun will come back up again, and then you guys can look again. You see again over in the southwest. So that is what is going on there. It's the potential to be something positive. No, I think we answered that. The UFOs will not prevent, it's going to be prevented by us bankrupting the East. Let me see. King of Rods, warring, time of war, suffering. New beginnings, new things will be built from the ashes, from the war king, the Mars king. Then will come a new beginning. Wisdom from the ashes. Look at that. High priestess going back to the wisdom, of, our elders. Judgment returns. No, sanity will return because this was a time of insanity. People were brainwashed into believing things that were not true. And now it's as if the lies are coming to an end and people are snapping out of it. But it's, TikTok is dangerous in the sense that young people, they've become useful idiots. Also, you have agitators that always show up in every 4 years. They did this during the Biden-Trump election in 2020, right? Antifa, right? They were paid to agitate. Now they're back again and they've got a new agitation because they want to dismantle the government. But the only thing they do is give us a extreme right-wing court, right? Protein and greens by paradise. Okay, yes. Meghan Markle question. Yes, her children. Why does no one ever see them? They get death threats and kidnapping threats. And so there are security risks. They also, a large sum of their money has to go toward paying for their own. The firm has done anything and everything to destroy Meghan and Harry. uh, harass them for living. Oh, you're living on our dime. So then Meghan put out, I think it was her money, 3.5 million. Was it partly hers? And then they took the home that they put 3.5 million in and didn't compensate them. Then they terrorized them and almost drove them off the road in New York, which, if you create that kind of a reckless situation in New York, you can be prosecuted. So it doesn't matter who, if it's all fun and frolic. We're frustrated, angry people, the Brits. We feel trapped in our miserable lives. And so what we get off on is terrorizing and destroying other people, right? So that's what it is to be truly angry. When you truly feel like you have no power, you look for a scapegoat, right? And then you feel better because you found somebody to terrorize. And so that's what Meghan became, right? Let's check on Meghan. It's like the mafia. It's not a family, it's a firm. Not saying all Brits. I'm saying that miserable, unhappy person that lives vicariously through celebrity or through, the truth is coming out. Some truth is coming out about the royal family that will bury the royal family. And there's this threat that Meghan is a truth teller. When she was with Has and they were being interviewed by Oprah, and she said, just tell the truth. She's a true believer in the truth, that the more you tell the truth, you are protected. And then at first they scoff at you. Oh, don't be ridiculous. But then you just keep telling the truth and you keep showing your evidence. Oh, and then they become angry. At first, there's denial. Don't be ridiculous. And then there's angry. What's with you? Who does she think she is? She's not all that, right? And then there's this fear. Well, maybe she is all that. Right? We're a little bit frightened of her, huh? So she presents as high priestess, the truth that's emerging. But look at that, Four of Swords coming in to rest, or almost like to be buried. She really is a threat. She is truly a threat to the monarchy, isn't she? Of course they're frightened of her. Look at how much she's accomplished. She truly is taking down the monarchy. Everything that they were afraid of, she is doing. Because the only thing she's doing is living her best life and really being great. And they just sound like a bunch of bitter old racists, quite frankly. Judgment is with her. Her crossing is more jobs, more contracts, money, 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 money. She's still the it kid. Her husband's still the it kid. They've got loads of contracts, Page of Pentacles. Her judgment is sound. They're going back to work. World contracts. I see Italy. I see other countries in Europe. You may not want to be part of the EU, Britain, but my husband and I do. Sure, we'll have a contract with the EU. Here comes the EU. Here comes international business. They don't have restrictions. She can go and do Lancome. She can go and do Italian Fashion Week. Why not? Go for it, girl. Look at this. She's got a hot lover in her bed. More babies coming, I think. They say that this is a woman who her heart is with her lover. Like she got her soulmate. Their love reminds me of that poem by John Donne. John Donne was an Irishman who worked for the court of Queen Elizabeth, and he fell in love with Lady Anne More, who was an aristocrat. They ran off together and they were forced to live in a little tiny room. And he wrote a love song to her. Um, and what did he say? He said, this little room isn't everywhere. We have just this little room between us, but this little room between us is enough, right? So that's kind of what he has with Meghan. Like it may just be those two holed away in a tiny little room with the entire world, making life crazy for them. They may be in jail, right? But as long as they have each other, uh, they have the world, you know? I wonder by my troth what thou and I did until we loved. Were we not weaned until then, but sucked on country pleasures childishly, or snorted we in the seven sleepers' den? It 'twas so. But if ever any beauty I did desire and get, 'twas but a dream of thee. And so good morrow to our waking souls that watch not one another out of fear. For love of sights, all other sights this love controls, and makes this little room appear in everywhere. Right? So that is how Has feels about his woman. The Red Knight, his woman, right? Who is he fighting? Who is the Red Knight fighting? He's fighting the devil. He's fighting somebody with, I am concerned about William's drinking. I've said that, excuse me. I don't like this in the 8th house. This is Harry, clearly. Uh, the Red Fox. I'm seeing them going to Europe. Issues of money. The money will be blessed. I think they're questioning the insanity or mental health of William. Oh, I'm not going to say anything, but this is in her future. You take it as you will. There's an Empress with a lover, with Haz's card. You guys ever heard of early senility, which can happen with traumatic head injuries? Where someone begins to actually show early Alzheimer's as early as their 30s and 40s. When I say that everybody in this firm is cursed, it's like everybody in the firm is cursed, including genetic disabilities and things like that. But it almost looks like mental illness, addiction, alcoholism. Look at this. 7 of Cups, in your cups, delusional. Excuse me. In your cups, delusional with the devil. I believe his brother is mentally ill due to alcoholism. It's not what people want to hear, and I'm sorry for that, but that is what it shows. I feel, as Harry, deep compassion for my brother because he had it all, and clearly he's not a healthy person. The hope and the fear. He's going to be fine with his finances. As I said, the wish card is over. Harry and Meghan's money. But his brother, unfortunately, the moon and the fool continue. I'm concerned about his mental health and his drinking. Moon is lunacy. The devil is addiction. 7 of Cups is to be in your cups and to be in delusion. I'm concerned about him being at risk because of the alcohol consumption and the head injury. And because of genetics, something goes awry with him. He's at risk of early Alzheimer's. He's not in his right mind. Yeah, they're seeing it as early as 30s now. Isn't that sad? Mm-hmm. Lorcan's Bane. Those are not your books? Oh, sorry. Lorcan's Bane is set in the 16th century Wales. Yeah, Lorcan's Bane is set in the 16th century, but Ariel and all those other people, they like don't always have a body. All right. Well, you guys will see. I'm going to let it just go. Sounds amazing. Yes. Well, yes, it does. But there's also, never mind. Just read it and you'll see what I mean. It's supernatural. It doesn't exist totally in this realm. Okay. All right. Thank you, Joel. I know I'm driving Joel crazy today. All right. Is Louis Dejoy being investigated for possible indictments? According to what they're claiming to me, is they went automated and that they had a transitionary period in the post office, and DeJoy was getting blamed and accused of things that weren't real. This is what DeJoy is saying, and that now that they've gone with the new automated system, people's mail is showing up surprisingly on time, and they're like over 98% efficient or something. So supposedly the post office is working better than it's ever worked before because it's relying on computers and less on people. But let's take a look. Yes, he's been facing prosecution for something. You can see the jail or prosecution card. Something he's done is illegal. Yes, that is true. I don't know enough about this. His opposition saw money laundering or questionable money schemes. Again, I don't know anything about this. I'm just reading cards. His hope and his fear is that they can move on from this. He wants to move on from whatever this investigation is. But unfortunately, he's in denial because whatever happened, they seem to be no. He's a star witness over some kind of an investigation that involved some questionable. Did he bribe Trump? Is that possible? Did he give money? Questionable campaign donation? Is that what this is about? Yes, they're investigating his fortune. Look at that, Two of Pentacles swindling. He bribed. There was some kind of a questionable money. You don't want the star over an investigation, by the way. We've talked about the sun and the star can be ominous because this, if you're the star witness, looks like he took money from, he donated money from to a questionable, in a questionable way. He has to answer questions. Whether or not he's facing prosecution, I don't know. All right. Are we going to continue to let Hamas live, or are they going to be allowed to leave to fight another day? People want to know about the hostages, but have we been protecting the lives of hostages when no deal is going to be good enough? And why is no deal good enough? Because Hamas is bluffing. Could it be that they're bluffing because they've already killed the hostages, and so they are stupid, and they ended up killing the very thing that would have gotten them an exit visa out of Gaza, but now they don't have an exit visa. They claim that they have less than 40 hostages alive. If we were to say, you know what, get on a boat, go to Algeria, we're not going to kill you today, and release the hostages, that's probably the best they're going to get at this point. Let's take a look. One way that they can avoid killing so many people is to simply go around the populations and blow up the entrance of the tunnels at the border on the Egyptian side, coordinating with the Egyptians. And if they did that and allowed people to willingly get on boats and leave, you would eventually clean out the area with the least amount of deaths, probably. Hamas. They're strong in that area. Understand this is where they've always been situated. This is where the Suez Canal is. There's a reason they're there. It's East versus West. Their opposition. Look at that. The Hierophant. So there's definitely also a religious or a cultural ideology. They are terrified of peace between the Arab and the Israeli world because it means the West coming in and the East losing in terms of trade, fearing lovers. They fear the peace accords. And the final outcome, the King of Rods is coming to Hamas. That's not good. It means more fighting. Strength and logic, their opposition. Their opposition is bound. Israel is bound right now, but they're finished. Hamas is finished. Israel is bound. So, did you guys hear the tapes? Did you guys hear the tapes from Hamas? Has anybody heard those? Most of us would do anything to protect our children, right? You know, yeah, it's just not. I wonder if I have that sound. Yeah, here, this is an example of what you're dealing with. Let me go ahead and oops. So most people, you say the majority of people decide that maybe they supported Hamas because Hamas was occupying them. You have Stockholm syndrome.
اقصف اللي بدك اياه، سوي اللي بدك اياه.
خلي يا ابو يونس ودك الاطفال يموتوا؟
انت خلص بتكاش الاطفال يموتوا ما تقصف البنك.
So this is an Arab translator telling the people in Gaza who are Hamas supporters to go to safety and to get to the oasis. Here's the response from the Hamas supporters.
شو قاعد تقصف سطان؟
يا ابو يونس هذا مش بايدي، بقول لك صراحه مش بايدي، انا بايدي شيء واحد، انت حتعيش بسلام.
انا بدي
انت والاولاد.
السلام اللي من عندكم ما بدنا اياه. السلام اللي من عندكم ما بدنا اياه.
لو ما بتطلع من البيت هذا انتحار، هذا حرام. حرام
اللي بدك اياه سويه.
حرام من القران.
قرآن انت بتعرف القرآن؟
لا.
انت اصلا في القرآن ممنوع ملعون. سوي اللي بدك اياه حبيبي. اللي بدك اياه سويه، كله بده يموت عندنا. احنا عندنا الموت زي الحياة عندكم. الخير اللي منكم بدناش اياه. بلغ قيادة جيش الدفاع تبعتك انه ابو يونس ما بده يطلع من البيت. سووا اللي بدكم اياه واللي بترميه.
So there you have it.
So we have a problem, right? We have a problem. If the other side, did you guys get to see that? Did I get to show that to you? If the other side doesn't want peace, then we have a problem. Yeah, so what happened was that here's what's really going on, because I know there's a lot of propaganda and stuff, but I showed you what the safe zone looks like, right? You guys, you can go live. Don't believe me, go to Reuters. So that's the safe zone. That's in Khan Yunis. That's the area we want people to go in. And then this is the area that is the last frontier for Hamas. This is their heart. This is where extremists have always been. And so if we say, okay, all you have to do is renounce Hamas, put down your guns, you know, it was a war. Some of you won't even have to go to prison. You just let's rebuild. Let's put the past, you know, let's do like they did in Japan. No more kamikazes, right? Let's all get along. No, we would rather die. We love death. So So if anybody is dying here, it's not, if children are dying, it's not because people aren't trying to get them out. It's because they have said, we want to die. And that's what's terrifying about it, is that they've got children, right? These are people with children that don't have a choice. What do you do in a situation like that? Do you let them continue to remain, rearm, and fire on random people, including their own civilians? I don't know. I think that the only thing you can do at that point is pray, do everything you can to dismantle them without. I think you can go around them and try and dismantle the tunnels. That might be, and cut off aid that way. Oh, they're starving us to death. Yes, well, you could always just go to the food truck down the road. No, they're oppressing. No, you just have to stop trying to kill people, right? So yeah, some people are like that. Yes, I love that. That is that is the love story of Harry and Meghan, and good morrow to our waking souls, right? He has woken. He's madly in love with his wife, and they think he's like committed some kind of heinous crime, right? How dare a British man have such hot sex with such a gorgeous woman and be blissfully happy making babies? He should be as miserable as the rest of us. Marriage should be a horrible, horrible suffering that goes on and on and on until you pray for death. That's the British way, right? No. Be happy for him. He has truly woken and become a better man because of it. And that is what we hope for love. Isn't that what we hope for true love? That people are better, that they are better. Because I knew you, I've been changed for good. Yes, I've been changed for the better. Yeah. That's right. He was changed. She changed him for the better. Yeah. She gave him redemption, which is the best thing that can come from love. Redemption. I'm getting concerned about the bird flu. Well, you should. It's I believe, similar to an H1N5. Now, we did have the Spanish flu, and that was, the swine flu, similar. Went from birds to swine and from swine to people. Also started in the Kansas, Missouri area, which is another reason why we've got to change our farming ways. So the rabbinical question is, if we start growing pork cells, is it kosher? And the answer is no. They've already decided it's not. I know. For those of you who wanted to try genetically, the lab-grown pork chops, would you be able to try it? No, it's still treif. Because it's still pork flesh, even if it did grow in a... I know. And then the next question is, if you take a piece of the flesh from a kosher slaughtered bird, it's kosher slaughtered, and then you take the cell from that, and then you grow the chicken, is that kosher? And the answer is, most rabbis would say yes, because you started with something that was initially kosher. I know. And well, you still got to wait 5 to 6 hours. That was the other question. Can you now mix meat and milk? No, it's the same. Nothing changes. I know there's no benefit other than the fact that it's good for the environment. You can grow more food. All right, let's take a look at the bird flu. Yeah, crowds this summer, Indian summers, when these things tend to, it could become a global problem. So if you're going, kids splashing around between spring and summer, bugs going around, you can see foolish behavior, the strain, A New Beginning, Four of Wands, the wash your hands, mask up if you're in air, if you're traveling, like I'm thinking of doing a little traveling, bring your mask. Don't put yourself in harm's way. If you've got, what do they call an I-90 mask, take responsibility. Could become a global problem by this time next year. So yeah, just take precaution, like anything. Well, you could do an I-90, and then some people are doing a essential oil swab in that. You don't have to buy it. Don't spend a bunch of money. Tea tree oil is antimicrobial. People will sometimes put a few drops on, and then an I-90. Don't put too much, or it's just, I don't like a lot of smell. It's like one drop. I guess it denatures the protein. Oh, yes, I heard about this. Did you guys hear that Harry got a wonderful applause at Invictus, as he should? He really did something. That's truly a wonderful thing, Invictus. Denial, anger, bargaining, and depression, acceptance, readjustment. Yeah, that's really kind of how they're handling Harry leaving and him and his wife leaving. William in the Tower. The more I look at it, it's almost looking like early dementia with him. He's got so many symptoms, drinking too much, which is a risk factor, severe head injury, also a risk factor, potentially too much genetic inbreeding. I just, it's like, maybe he's just having a nervous breakdown, but it just seems to me like he's lost his marbles a little bit. All right, RFK here. Speaking of curse, can you speak on RFK and his worm in the brain diagnosis? I think he makes things up. There was something recently about a guy went on vacation, I think it was in South America, and he was having strange symptoms, and they saw an abscess in his brain. And was it in Indonesia? No, I don't know. He went somewhere. Anyway, when the neurosurgeon went to put scapula, we showed it to you, the worm wiggled and she went, ah, and she removed it. The larva had crossed the blood-brain barrier and the worm had lived, and she was able to remove the worm. So perhaps after they saw an image, he thought, oh, that's it, it's got to be a parasite, it's got to be a worm. This is the same guy who said that he had a tumor in his brain from a cell phone. So now he's saying it was a worm. Was it a worm or was it a cell phone? Okay, it's whatever is popular. Okay, maybe he did have a calcification in the brain. They're relatively common. They're not necessarily dangerous. It could, more than anything, he probably had a stroke. Maybe he had a stroke and or an old injury. And now it's like, it's a tumor, it's a worm. Let's find out what's going on with RFK. RFK. Ace of Swords. He feels pretty good. The Devil. Yeah, he is off drugs, so that's good. His opposition is drugs. You can see Ace of Swords. He is victorious. His opposition is the devil or drugs. His fear. This guy may have anxiety and have a real hard time in public situations. He has a thief's card to try and run and flee. He has good stars over him. I think, did he get a divorce? Because I'm seeing a new girlfriend. Yeah, he's got a new girlfriend. He's taking really good care. Is he a vegan now or something? I always think he's like munching on like roasted soybeans or something. He's really healthy. He's a really health conscious person. I don't see him being the president. However, I see him getting on some kind of a health kick. And he's got a new wife, somebody he's really focusing on this relationship. Did he get a divorce? Who's this? Because that's really a big deal. Huh. I could see him being a health advocate. Yeah, he's getting married again. He used to be dating that woman from didn't he used to date the woman from, what was the show? I can't remember. Anyway, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah, he used to be dating the actress from Curb Your Enthusiasm, but this almost looks like somebody new. Hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. Did I screw up with the books? Where's Kitty Connell? Hello, darling. Okay, the last King William was also not in his right mind. Yeah, really a good point. Yeah, no, we're meeting. But to be honest with you, it's almost like he doesn't want to be president anymore. He wants to go get into health and hang out with his new girlfriend. So he's got a new interest. Oh, the sorting machines were slowed down. Seems to have improved a little bit. Okay, did you talk about Stormy and she was a credible witness? Well, let's take a look. I think she is a credible witness, and I think it's more about trying to humiliate Trump as much as possible so that he can't recover and run in 2024. This is really, I think, her doing her part to say, do you really want to vote for this guy? Picture this, right? She felt empowered standing up to somebody. She felt like this was closing a chapter. Stormy Daniels felt like women have been jerked around by powerful men and intimidated, threatened, and a lot of stuff she didn't make public, like being threatened, being hounded, having to pay for her own security, having crazy people stalking her. She became more famous, but she lost a ton of money in security. But you can see here, 9 of Pentacles, this need to hold on to her own power, her own finances, her own security. Like she's in her power and against this strong individual. So she kind of held her own against this strong individual. She wanted the truth to come out, the lady of the truth. And in this way, she's able to finally have closure and move on from whatever. She gets her power back. Yeah. So for her, it was an attempt to kind of get her power back after to personally be responsible for taking his power away, right? The future of Hamas, will it survive? No, it won't survive because the Arab world, the people that have the money and power, are disgusted. They've seen the film footage, the rape footage, and what happened was that people became revolted. Their behavior was so disgusting that they no longer looked like they were fighting a righteous battle. And the most righteous thing people could do is to cooperate with the Arab Accords and rebuild a border that's not promoting hate and violence. You can see this kind of hoarding that happens. Four of Pentacles, the enemy is being denied access to weapons. So you've got this Four of Pentacles there. However, they're hope and fear to let it go. But you can see here the Tower is coming to Hamas. So they're about to be hit hard. Of course, we don't want to hit children, but when you're using your own children as human shields from your forced marriage wife, they're desperately trying to hold on and negotiate something as long as possible. The longer they can hold on, the more weapons they can get. They can try and survive. Look at this. They're trying to control the hand of Israel. Look at this. They're trying to dig to get more money. What they want is more money and more weapons. That's the purpose of the ceasefire. I agree with Son of Hamas. It looks like it's a trick. And look at them frantically trying to find a way to survive. The longer we go holding off on seizing this part of Rafah, the longer the nightmare continues. The final outcome, lovers, unity is inevitable. Try and save as many lives as you can. You do it in the most ethical way you can, but the only thing that's happening when we wait is that they rearm and kill more people and continue to use their hostage wives and children as human shields, dragging them around, blaming the Jews when they try to dismantle this cult of death. So if people can escape, people have tried to escape Hamas and they've been shot at and killed attempting to escape, blocks taken over by Hamas. It's a death cult. People say 70% support Hamas. Well, sure you do. If you're found that you're harboring a Jewish person and you don't tell Hamas and you know they're dragging people, they ruled through terror, hanging gay people and throwing them off rooftops. So sure you want to get in good with them because you don't want to be thrown off a rooftop. But once they're free, once they're truly free, let's see if they continue to speak nice about Hamas once they know that Hamas can never touch them again. Just wait and see. How dare he be so happy? I'm sorry, not everybody likes to hear about the royals. I try to answer everyone's questions and to the best of my ability, and if they're asked, and just respect everyone. When you have a question, if your time will come, and then we'll answer yours. Kosher is kosher slaughtered, so it has to be a really sharp knife so that the animal doesn't feel any pain. So if you're going to kosher a chicken, it has to be petted, and then they use a really sharp knife, and then the animal is supposed to die quickly. And then the blood is removed, and then it's cleaned with salt. So that would be koshering a chicken. So you could use the cells from that chicken to make, to grow kosher chicken breast, for example, because the meat is kosher. But you wouldn't be able to just take any chicken and you couldn't be able to take a random, I keep wanting to say leaf, feather. You can't, I don't know what's going on with me today. You can't take a random feather because that would be taking something live from a living animal. So that wouldn't be considered kosher. But what you could do is you could take from an animal that's been slaughtered kosher, take from those cells, stem cells, and then at that point, it's been kosher. No, it's really easy. It's just, it's really easy to keep kosher in Israel. It's not hard. What is the future of religion after the ETs have been, they talk about the sons of man and how they were with the humans. It's mentioned in Genesis. So I think people would just accept it, that these beings were talked about in the Torah, and I think that people would just accept it as being the truth, don't you? They would look at because there have been people telling stories in the Torah, right, in the Bible. So they would say, oh, that's what happened. Okay. How do people respond once they prove that there are ETs? People become more esoteric in their religious beliefs. They still believe, if you're a Christian, you still believe in Jesus, but now there's kind of a new marvel or a new awesomeness to being human and to being alive, because life is now so multidimensional with all these cloaked beings, and we wonder if our cousins are cloaked and if they'll communicate with us. So it's wealthy. And we have this friendship being offered. So we have this positive introduction happening, dreaming of the stars, right? You have this Queen of Cups dreaming and this sobriety. So it looks as if human beings evolve to a slow awareness that they are not alone. And it's seen as something very positive, Ace of Cups. It will happen in the right time. This is an ambassador coming to speak, or a diplomat that's coming to speak. The Wheel of Fortune, the fear that people always have, incarceration. But this is a dream, our own imagination. The biggest concern for other life forms, weapons of war, dismantling weapons of war. Yeah. That's deep. That would make a lot of sense, right? That they would want to dismantle the weapons of war. The future of Iran. The future of Iran. Same thing, financial stability. So that means that the sanctions are going to end. Yeah, the sanctions are ending. Incarceration, hopes and fears letting them go, and a new beginning for Iran. Something about having to pay restitution to victims. Some kind of mediation that has to happen. Some kind of transition in power or shared power begins to happen, so that a new progressive movement of thinkers begins to take hold in Iran, like an agreement of power. But unfortunately, it could lead, unfortunately for the Ayatollah Khomeini, by being willing to share some power, they could be inadvertently dismantling themselves. You can see Seven of Wands over Khomeini trying to dismantle themselves. Strong female power is moving into ninth position, is what they fear. My space, boom, boom, get out of my way. Then you have this mediator coming in, trying to keep civil war from happening. So what ends up happening is that you have a soft revolution, most likely happening in Iran, where they agree to modify and allow shared powers in certain positions. And after that, more and more power starts to take place in the hands of the people. And in a very short amount of time, it could be like the collapse of East Berlin. Yeah. I just don't think this is maintained. They can maintain this. And I think that they're in denial. I just don't think the East can compete economically with the West. And I think that nobody wanted to see the collapse of China. People here, the remote viewers, were crying about it. No, we don't enjoy this. We're not enjoying the trade war. We're not enjoying watching this. When will it end? When will this crap end? They can't win a war against the West. And they're afraid of the West. They're terrified of Israel. No. They are going to have to do business and try to cool the fire in Iran, or they will face an economic disaster. Look at this. Their economy, I'm telling you, they lost the trade war. They're in complete denial that their behavior is directly related to the economic problems they're currently facing also. So there's a real aspect of denial here that you see in Iranian leadership. Okay, I guess, Whimsy, what is your favorite Jewish food? Although my family is not Jewish. Well, I like Moroccan food. When I'm in Israel, I tend to go to the workers' restaurants and I get like traditional Moroccan food. Hummus, Moroccan food is my thing. What's the name of that restaurant? Just go to Machane Yehuda, the Jewish market in Jerusalem, or any market in Jaffa, and you'll see some of these worker stalls where they have like meatballs and tomato sauce and hummus and beans and rice, and they're like little, it's like Moroccan tapas. They're like Moroccan tapas places. And you can get a soup, you can get hummus and pita and little tiny plates like meatball, rice, peas and rice. That's my food. That's like when I'm in Israel, I go crazy on that. In terms of Ashkenazi food, if you know how to make a good matzo ball soup, that's always great. I've had some incredible hot potato kugel on Pesach with horseradish salad made with like extra sweet and sour beets. That's delicious. I don't know, baked chicken with peaches. That's pretty tasty on Shabbos. Lamb and rice. Try Sephardic food. Yeah, check out Sephardic food. I think you'll really like it. Try the Moroccan and the Turkish. Yeah. All right, I'm going to call it quits. If you're trying to get in for a tarot reading with me, I would love to empower you with a reading. Check out all that information below. You can see me through a Booksy. Be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. I'm out of here. Peace out. Bye-bye.